We all want good health care we can trust, but having the government take over health care and having the government being basically run by special interest, big pharma, 90+% of our vaccines are now made in China. And you try to say, hey, I don't trust these vaccines, or hey, kids are dying from this Gardasil shot, or major states in Australia have banned. I saw this in the news last week, giving shots to kids under 5 because so many of them were dying. And now they're not just mandating 5 or 6 vaccines. Now it's 50+ shots. And these big companies have hundreds of new vaccines a year. They want them all mandated. They want to make you take them all. We're talking to medical doctor Deborah Cohen, a features editor of the British Medical Journal. Detailed report that's been picked up by ABC News. You name it, World Health Organization scientists linked to swine flu vaccine makers. She was telling me during the break that she sees, women's magazines and others quoting experts saying everything's fine, but then she happens to know those experts are on the payroll. I mean, we do have a crisis in confidence. Children's Vaccine Health Center, pig virus DNA found in rotavirus vaccine. FDA says 1 million kids have been given the virus. Studies show it can hurt children, but FDA says no problem. I mean, it's getting crazier and crazier. So we're supposed to question formula from China with melamine, but don't question vaccines from China, Doc?
Well, I think on the whole, things are tested, vaccines tested very, very well, and I can't comment on specific. I focus specifically on swine flu, so I can't comment specifically on Gardasil or anything else.
Sure. So
like
let's
that.
talk about Australia. They've suspended shots in one state at least because of the H1N1 trial. Correct?
Yeah, that is correct. I don't know the results of the investigation yet, but they were concerned that children were having adverse reactions in one of the states in Australia.
Yeah, death.
They suspended their immunisation program. They were due to test the vaccine, and I don't know.
And that's quite an adverse reaction, dying.
Well, I don't know. I can't categorically say that is what they were dying from. I haven't seen...
Sure, but the investigation is, and they've got Australian doctors saying it was the shots.
Yeah, if Australian doctors are saying it's the shots, then I would listen to them. But I can't comment specifically because I haven't been directly...
No, absolutely. Specifically, you're looking mainly, Doc, at the conflict of interest then. What else can you tell us about that and how deep it went in your report?
Well, I think what we know is there is a network of people that go to conferences that are funded by industry, and I think one of the problems is that every expert wants their illness to be taken seriously, wants their expertise to be taken seriously, because taken seriously, that means investment in that condition, it means research funding, it means high turnover for the drug companies, and so we do know there is a network of key people that are pharmaceutical company funded, that sit on the World Health Organization, that sit on government bureaus, that make big decisions. That even extends in Europe to our equivalent to the FDA, the European Medicines Agency. And I think we need to decide how we want to deal with this, whether it's acceptable. And like you guys in America are quite far ahead of us in Europe, we are behind. But also when I see quotes, like I was saying to you, I saw a quote in Glamour magazine about swine flu and the risk of swine flu. This was only today, and actually the person quoting that was saying, oh, don't worry, in the UK we're fine, we've got lots of Tamiflu and Relenza, it's all great. I know that person, that expert, is on the payroll of Roche. So, and what you worry about is there will be a lapse in confidence, and that can extend to legitimate, hard-working, honest experts and doctors. And you worry that there will be a lapse in confidence if this continues and health bodies don't sort it out.
Well, doctor, isn't the bigger issue, and I've talked to a lot of other medical doctors who are concerned, take Obama's health care bill. A lot of that is where these boards decide the type of care that doctors can give. And so instead of a knee surgery, you get a cortisone shot or a cane. Or instead of eye surgery, you get glasses. Or drugs. And so it's really the pharmaceutical companies are trying to basically expand their markets by changing the way medicine is practiced.
I think pharmaceutical companies will use any methods that they can. I mean, they market directly to doctors, they market directly to patients. Something that you guys have that we don't have is you have direct-to-consumer advertising where drug companies can market directly to patients. I mean, drug companies are sophisticated, and, you know...
Now, imagine how dumb that is. They're telling the public to go ask your doctor about restless leg syndrome, and then the side effects may make you kill yourself or go crazy or be obsessive gambling. I'm not kidding. I mean, these side effects to most of these drugs, it's like having trouble sleeping, jump off a cliff. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I think you've hit on something that's quite interesting there, is this idea of disease mongering is what we call it. So this creation of syndromes to enable them to market drugs. And we are seeing more and more of this where you might have pre-diabetes, so a drug company can market a drug based on pre-diabetes. You might have pre-hypertension, so that is just before you have high blood pressure. Now, these are new conditions, and it's a new term. It's called disease mongering, and so there's creation like restless leg syndrome, like you're saying, you know, and there is this blurring of boundaries where diseases are being almost created to market drugs, and I think that is something that we are seeing more and more of, and it's something I think that we have to be, as a medical profession, that we have to be aware of.
Well, amazing, Doctor. We're almost out of time, and as this develops, maybe in the next month or so, we can have you pop back in. But British Medical Journal is bmj.com. Dr. Deborah Cohen, the article making headlines in literally hundreds of newspapers, is Conflict of Interest, WHO and the Pandemic Flu Conspiracies. WHO, of course, stands for World Health Organization. In the minute and a half left we've got here, I mean, do you think I'm correct in saying that the next big pandemic, whether real, hyped, or whatever, that if we ever face something that really is dangerous, people may not respond like they should because of all the other crying wolf we've seen? What's your take on that?
And I think that is a real risk. And I think one of the problems is that it's very difficult to communicate. And as a doctor, it's very difficult to communicate uncertainty. So it's very difficult to say to people, look, guys, we're not sure what's going to happen. And this is one of the problems that's happened with pandemic flu, is that level of uncertainty hasn't been communicated, and it has been hyped. And I think the danger is when something serious does happen, that people won't listen or just say, oh, it's that same thing again. And that is the risk. And hopefully that won't happen. And hopefully, you know, things won't be hyped and risk will be communicated a lot better than it has been. You know, here's the hoping. So, but that is the danger. And unless the major health organisations address certain issues, then it will be the public health system that loses out.
Absolutely. All right. Dr. Deborah Cohen from the British Medical Journal. Go ahead and get some sleep now. We appreciate you staying up till 11, 12 at night, and enjoy your British summer over there.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. Thanks for spending time with us. Okay, folks, I'm going to come back and do a bunch of other news, jamming some of your phone calls. Key info straight ahead on the sun. What in the world's going on with the sun?